Alright peeps, so we're out here shooting. There's Jordan in the background over there. I don't know if you can see him. We're out here shooting and I'm going to be reviewing the Canon EOS R. Honestly, one of my favorite cameras, and I know probably one of the most disliked cameras on the internet right now. So let's go check it out. Alright, so let's head back home and let's talk a little bit more about my impressions and review of the EOS R. Alright, so we're back. I hope you enjoyed that little cinematic bit that I shot of my friend Jordan. All of that was shot with the Canon EOS R. I just wanted to show a little bit about what this thing is capable of for setting wise. It's pretty much stock. I did not shoot any of that in C-Log. I shot it in, I think it was a neutral color profile, and then just slapped a LUT onto it. Half of it was handheld and the other half was with the DJI Ronin S gimbal. And for all of that, I used this Canon RF 35mm lens. Disclaimer, before I start this review, I know this is one of the most disliked and disappointed in cameras of 2018. And the short end of it is that I absolutely love it. I'm coming at this camera from the standpoint of a hybrid wedding photographer, videographer. I also shoot commercial work a little bit as well, but for the most part, most of my work is wedding and engagements. So that's kind of where I'm going to be approaching this camera from. My style is very photojournalistic. I like to be very subtle and discreet, and so that's kind of a thing for me and my style. I've used a ton of different cameras in the past year, just kind of testing out what works best for me and my style of shooting. I've used everything from the 1DX Mark II, the Sony's, the A7 III, A7R III, and even Fuji X-T3 and the X-H1, but I ended up settling on this guy. So, and I'm gonna tell you why. So rather than just drag this out for the whole review and then tell you what I think of it at the very end, truth is that I absolutely love this camera. This camera has checked off all of the boxes for me from a wedding photographer standpoint. And even the boxes that aren't checked off, I've found solutions too. The main things are size. This thing is so small compared to a 5D4. I absolutely love that about it, especially with this Canon RF 35mm lens. It's just a perfect size combo package for run and gun type of video, photo type of work. It is absolutely perfect for a wedding day to be held for 9 hours. It doesn't kill you, it doesn't break your back. So that's a plus. The autofocus is that good. The face tracking is superb. Both video and photo autofocus are fantastic. Canon is known for the dual pixel autofocus, and personally I think that that's the best in the industry. And Sony's are right up there, but there's something about the Canon where it's just smooth and it's very lifelike. And it just looks great. The eye autofocus is there, but it doesn't work like the Sony's do, which is a bummer, but at the same time, like the focus outside of this in the face tracking is really good. The Canon colors, obviously that's a thing. I know that's been beaten to death on YouTube, but there's no beating Canon colors, just straight out of camera. I mean, I use the neutral profile in this camera and it gives me exactly what I need. And I throw on my own presets on there and it's just fantastic. The way that it handles color and skin tones, Canon really has that nailed down. Flip out screen, that is huge. Especially for a content creator. If you're trying to make videos like on YouTube, being able to see yourself, I wish I was recording with this right now, but I'm using a Canon 5D4, two Canon 5D4s actually, and I can't see what I'm recording right now, so I hope it's good. But having that flip out screen is just so valuable, whether it's at a wedding, shooting high, shooting low. The custom buttons and the programmability and the customizability of all of that is finally there for Canon. I know my 5Ds, it's not to the full extent that say the Sony's are, but now with this EOS R, it is. I've been able to program this, this button right here, this star button on top, to be the switch, a one-touch switch between servo and then single shot for me, and that has been perfect. That's been so valuable because I can flip back and forth so easily now. For me, it's a big thing to be able to switch back and forth from photo to video, And so I need to be able to do that very quickly and seamlessly. With this camera, it does. All I have to do is press this top record button, and immediately from photo, I can jump into video. It jumps into a custom 3 setting where I have everything customized in there, the frame rate, the quality that I want, and the shutter and the aperture. So that's fantastic. I can literally one touch and jump into video. And then as soon as I hit that again and stop recording, then I'm back into photo and I'm back taking photos. As a wedding photographer, I shoot a lot of natural light. I don't like to bring out flash unless I absolutely have to. And so low light, autofocus is a thing for me, and then high ISO. This nails it. It does exactly what I need. 12,800 is kind of like the standard. I rarely go above that in a reception unless it's super, super dark. Even then, personally, I like some grain, and 25,600 is super usable. I could probably throw up some examples if I have them. Both photo and video wise. 10,000, 12,800, 20,000, 25,600. I've even shot some street stuff in San Francisco and taken it around as a travel camera because the size just lends itself to being a travel camera also. And it's inconspicuous, and I absolutely love that experience. Obviously, there are some downsides, there are some concerns. So as a wedding photographer, a single card slot is something that I'm not fond of. And that, when I first saw the camera out on paper, it was just super disappointing, and I reacted like a lot of everybody else reacted, and just kind of wrote it off. The way that I get around the single card slot is, well, I'll pull it up right now, is this guy. So this is a Western Digital My Passport wireless SSD. This guy I love because it has an SD reader built into that. So I have to give credit to Sam Hurd because he's the one that I kind of got this idea from, because this is what he does. But for me, on a wedding day, what I did this past weekend was I would, as soon as the card would be close to getting filled up, I would take it and insert it into this guy, hit the one-touch button, and then it's copying over onto this SSD in my bag, and I can continue on shooting. The other thing that people do not love about this camera is there is a lack of in-body image stabilization. So that kind of sucks, especially for a run and gun like me. But the way, again, that I found a solution to that is this RF 35mm lens. If I pull it off right here to show you guys, this guy has image stabilization inside the lens. So in practice, I've seen that this combo has been just as effective as the Sony with the in-body image stabilization. So the other thing that I was going to test out was walking with this guy. I'm currently holding it at arm's length and walking with the image stabilization off. So now I'm walking that same little path with the image stabilization on at arm's length. Can you see a difference between the two? And so you're kind of pigeonholed into IS lenses if you want to run and gun. That'll allow you to get smoother footage than if you were just hand holding. Battery life is not bad, regardless of what people have said and what they're rated at. I know they're rated probably around like 330 shots or something around there. At a 9-hour day, pulling both photo, video weight, I used 3 batteries, and the third battery was enough to get me through the rest of the day. So that's not bad, considering that my 5D Mark IVs usually only take 2 batteries. 2 batteries is enough. So an extra battery is not bad. You can buy them on Amazon for super cheap. The other concern that I've heard, and I've seen other YouTubers say and talk about, is this EVF kind of lag. So Canon, I think, announced that this camera did not have any blackout, and it doesn't technically. However, when you take a picture, it'll want to review that image in the EVF. And so there will be, even if you turn off the image review completely, there will be just this little tiny stutter or pause, really. And as soon as you hit the shutter again to start focusing, you'll jump back into your live feed. In practice, it's literally been like a millisecond. And I know that's probably an exaggeration, not an exact term. The point is that it has not affected my workflow at all, and I've not noticed it, especially in shooting. So really, it's not that big of a deal. If you feel like you're concerned about that, go to your camera store or your local camera store and check it out and shoot around and see if you feel like that's something that would bug you. But in practice, it has not bugged me at all. This camera does shoot 4K. It's severely cropped, just like the 5D Mark IV, 1.7, 1.8 times crop. So that is a huge bummer. Also, there's a lack of 1080 120 frames per second. That's also another big bummer. My stance on the 4K is that I'm shooting a wedding. I'm shooting 9 hours out of the day and I'm bouncing back and forth between photo and video. I do not want 4K files. That is going to bog down my computer so much. The codec on here is better than the 5Ds, but even then, I just don't need 4K files, especially with Canon. The 1080 that comes out of this is beautiful. The cinematic bit in the beginning of this video, all shot in 1080 60. Like I said, not C-Log, and that footage is fantastic. I love how that turned out. I wish that there was 1080 120 in this camera, but I mean, that's kind of the give that you got to take with Canon a little bit. The 720 120 doesn't look bad, but you have no autofocus in that frame rate, so that's a bummer too. I really just love this camera. The take home really is, don't look at spec sheets and write off a camera just based off of that. Don't even go based off of a review like this. A review like this is meant to help you to kind of give my opinion and my firsthand experience of this camera. And if that sounds like something that you're interested in, go to your local camera store, rent it online, and go check it out that way. Have it and use it hands-on, because that's gonna dictate whether or not this camera or any camera in general is gonna be the right one for you. I hope that helps. I hope that this was informative. If you have any questions at all, or I wanna hear your experiences with this camera, what you think, or if you're interested in it, leave a comment down below. And feel free to ask any other questions. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoy this and I hope you got something out of it. My name is David Roscoe, and I will talk to you guys later. That 4K is a thing, and this is going to be kind of a contradictory part. Text message.